Let's work through some problems in 2.1. So this is just a printout of your topic 2.1. Let me just make you aware of some really great insights. So if you had clicked on this link right here, it will take you to all these different options, and so there's some great videos, some great practices, and all this is just as resources to you. You do not get any grade on all this. If you're like, I don't want to do practice, she's going to see I'm getting wrong. This is not something that is trackable. It is just when you click on this, it'll take you to some really great resources to learn it before you ever start on this quiz, so that within the 30 minutes, you're going to be able to get these questions done, and you do have 3 attempts here. So make sure you're going through these. That's really great resources, and then come here to try it. So let's just kind of work through some of these questions and make sure we're all on the same page. When you're looking at question number 1, it says find the perimeter and area of this polygon made up of a right triangle on top of a square. So they're just letting you know that this piece is a right triangle, so we're going to have to use that information, and this is a square. So first let's talk about perimeter. When you're dealing with perimeter, you are looking for the outside adding up all the sides. A lot of times they'll compare that to maybe putting fencing around a certain piece of land. How much fencing would you need? And so what we're going to do is we're going to have to figure out all our different pieces here. So I'm just going to kind of go through and label these. We know this to be 6, this side length. This is 6. This gives us 10, which we know is more than 6, so that's the entire length of it. So I don't need to find this length right now. And then 5. So in order to find the perimeter, I'm going to add all sides. And so I'll say, okay, well then that's 5 plus 3 plus 6 plus 6 plus 10. And I'll just add that on my calculator. So I have 10 and 12, so 22, 25, 30. So I get 30 meters for my perimeter. Now when I go into area, it's important to note that they told you it was a right triangle on top of a square. So let's start with the square. If I know it's a square, that means this area here, so area of our square plus our triangle. Let's just do the square first. The square is going to be your length times width, or you could say side squared, because a square is defined as having equal sides on all 4. So the fact that this is a square and it's 6 by 6, I would just say, well, then that area is equal to 6 times 6, which gives me 36 square meters. Now, that's just half the shape. We are going to have to do a little investigating to figure out our triangle. Now, when I go into my formula for area of a triangle, that is 1/2 base times height. So I need to figure out this base and this height, but we have to do some inference here from the square to help us figure that out. So if we know this whole side length here is 6, and they tell me this is 3, then 6 minus 3 tells me this length here, my base of my triangle, is also 3. So I'm going to say plus 1/2 times 3. Then I need to figure out my height. So again, you're going to have to use information about your square and some overall length on this one. So if this whole thing is 10, but we know this just piece of the square is 6, we're going to do 10 minus 6 to figure out that this little length here is 4, which is that height of the triangle. So I'm going to have to be multiplying by 4. So I'm going to say 4 times 3 is 12, times 1/2, or divided by 2 gives me 6. So my area of my triangle here is 6. Area of my square is 36. And so my total is 42. So definitely using your instructions is very helpful. I know this is a little more difficult than just singular shapes of just a rectangle or just a triangle. So try to follow through with what do I have? What do I know? What can I do? Let's do another example. And I just printed these from your assignments. So here's one, and again, these are not in numerical order because it is a scramble on it, so we'll just kind of work a couple here. This one says, find the perimeter in inches of the rhombus. And so some important things to know is they have given us that this side length is 7, so we know that this side length is also 7. By definition, a rhombus is a parallelogram with opposite equal acute angles, opposite equal obtuse angles, and 4 equal sides. So the fact that this is a rhombus, I can assume that it has 4 equal sides. So if this is defined as 7, all of these are defined as 7. So if I want to find perimeter, I'm just going to add all that up. So adding up 7 4 times gives me 28 inches. So in the case of this problem, I didn't even need that 6 because I was just trying to add up all the sides. Let's do another kind of odd shape here. Let's look at number 5. Again, this is not numerical order for your assignment. You may even have different questions, but hopefully this will kind of help out. It says find the perimeter and area of the parallelogram. So let's do perimeter first. The fact that it's a parallelogram, we know that. It is defined as a parallelogram is a 4-sided plain rectangular figure with opposite sides parallel. So this side and this side will never intersect if we extended them. These sides would never intersect because they're going to be parallel. And so that means we also know that these sides are going to be the same and these sides are going to be the same. So if I want to find perimeter, I'm going to add all that up. So I'm going to add up 17 and 27 twice here. And that will give me a total perimeter of 88. So my perimeter is 88. Now, if I want to find area of this is similar to your rectangles on that you're doing length width, but they just call this base times height because you're not going to multiply these two numbers. You want to multiply your base, which is just one of these, so we're going to say 17, times the height, so not necessarily the diagonal. That's why they gave you this information over here, so times 24. And then with your 17 times 24, that gives you 408. Let's kind of do some other odd shapes. Let's look at this one. It says find the area of the triangle. So since I'm doing area is equal to 1/2 base times height. So I'm going to say for my triangle, it's going to be 1/2 my base, which my base is 12, times my height, which they're giving me over here, times 3. And then I can multiply that all together just using my calculator. So this gives me a value of 18 yards square yards. Let's do this one down here. Kind of an odd shape. The figure below has a perimeter of 31. Find the value of x. So perimeter means I'm adding up all the sides. So I'm going to do that now. 8 plus 8 plus 5 plus 7 plus x. And that's all equal to 31. And so we're just going to do some solving for x. So I'm going to add these 4 numbers up. So I have 8 plus 5 plus 7. And that gives me 28 plus x equal to 31. And then to get this x by itself, I'm going to have to subtract 28. So x would be equal to 3. And you can see what number am I adding to 28 to get to 31? I'd have to add 3 to 28 to get me to 31. So this kind of brings in some solving. So I hope this helps with this section, especially with these unique figures. Please reach out to me if you need any more assistance, or like we did at the beginning, go and check out some of those resources if you haven't yet.